Shout out to Michaela. Shout out to Joby. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Ashley and Jordan and Rachel. I think that was. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to Kelly. Shout out to Katie. Shout out to Cindy and Celeste. Shout out to Catherine. Shout out to Sydney and Erica. Shout out to Adriana from Clovis. Clovis. Shout out to Cole. Shout out to Rose. Shout out to Rachel. Shout out to Julie. Shout out to Julia. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to Ruby. Shout out to Leanna. Shout out to Carly. Shout out to Nora and Caitlin. And shout out to Christina. Shout out to Susan. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Veronica and Maggie from Illinois. Shout out to Jenna and Zoe. Shout out to Mary Taylor. Katie from, I forgot that part, Caitlin. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to, oh, that got right. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Julia from Florida. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to Taylor from TN. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to Rachel from Lancaster. Shout out to Mackenzie. Shout out to Katie from Mapleton. Shout out to Alyssa. Shout out to Megan. Tomorrow is her birthday. Happy birthday to you, Megan. Shout out to Annalena. I think that was. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Aaron Fuller. Shout out to Julie from Jersey. Shout out to Emily Bishop from Fort Lauderdale. Shout out to Emily from New York. Shout out to Sarah. I didn't catch the last name. Shout out to Nora and Molly. Shout out to Tina and Morgan. Shout out to Ashley. Shout out to Alice. Brooke from Tuscaloosa, I think. Shout out to Beatty Swag. Shout out to Mariah. Shout out to Morgan. Shout out to Izzy. Shout out to Jackie and Alyssa from Fresno. That was really weird. Okay. Shout out to Albie from Fresno. Yeah. Shout out to all Beatty fans. I like that one. Shout out to Purple Frickin' Julia. I saw that. Shout out to Jackie. Shout out to Chelsea. Shout out to Allie. Shout out to Alexa from Canada. Katie and Fiona and Bailey, and shout out to Suzanne and all Beatty fans from Fort Lauderdale, and shout out to Kathleen Steves. Shout out to Janelle. Tell your dad I said hi. Okay, I'll tell him that. Shout out to all my Alabama fans. Shout out to Victoria. Shout out to Veronica from Monkey Crew. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to Boston. Shout out to my hater. Sorry that you couldn't faze me. Shout out to everyone. Olivia, Catherine from New Jersey, Chicago, and everybody else who wants a shout out. Shout out to you guys. Bye to Adriana. And yeah. Alright, now I'm gonna do fan call.